This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. Always love getting together with different people here on this program. And today, something radically different. I have never talked to anybody that does what this gentleman does. And not only does he do what he does in terms of the craft, he's a teacher, a manager, a builder as well. And this is all about glass.
It's all
and
in the
doing your own thing.
t-shirt. Can you see it?
Yeah, let me see. That's what I do. I fix stuff and I know things. Well, there you go. He is the man
Keep
behind
it simple.
Prairie Dog Glass in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Patrick Morrissey joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really glad to start being a member of your podcast, and yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
So much to talk about. Before we even get there, you're outside, and where is that in relation to your building, your studio, all of that?
Hang on.
Ah, okay. You're very close. Oh, interesting.
It's just a little noisy in there, so I opted for being right here. Now, the thing about our shop is we have tarps that come down on this side of the building, but a lot of times they're open because, you know, when the weather's nice and you're blowing glass, we have plenty of heat. We don't have to worry about, you know, getting cold.
So what about in the winter? Legit, is that keeping you warm in there as well?
Oh yeah. This building does not even have a heater.
Wow.
Because of the furnaces heat that much.
Incredible.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me about the types of glass that you work with and the difference between, let's call it, glass work and, or the glass experience versus, let's say, glass blowing.
Yeah, there is some definitely difference. The experience is it's all about glass blowing, but instead of breaking it down to every moment, right? Like we're like, oh, now we're doing this, now we're doing that. With the experience, you basically are just making the piece nonstop through. So when we work with people through the experience, we would do it the same speed that we do it at. So you're basically getting how it flows. And to me, the experience is way better than the lesson. The lesson drives, it takes you down other roads and you have to make a lot of decisions. And all of a sudden you can't remember when you started and where you're finishing. Where the experience is, we make a glass in 15 minutes. And so you're going to be in there with us, gathering glass, playing with fire, all that kind of stuff. And it happens over 15 minutes. And so, and we do like 4 people in the hour. So that means that the 4 different people or one person 4 times will make pieces. And that's how our experience is running. So
when somebody is creating a piece of work using glass blowing, is time a major consideration? You're at one section, You've blown something, you got to keep moving to the next. Is that true?
Yeah, time is everything. So the most experienced masters, one of the things is when I watch them, being that I've been doing it for so long, I see that every single move they do. And time efficiency is everything, right? Because every time you drop temperature, you got to reheat it. It's like, in some senses, it's like you're starting over. So a master would never let it get cold, ever, until he was done. You know what I mean? And they move so fast, And so, and I love watching somebody who's that talented that can just do that. So, and here in our shop, we try to make not people masters, but at least journeymen. You know what I mean? Like even somebody who's never done it before is going to be able to do something like a journeyman would do it. You know what I mean? And we like that involvement. There's something about having liquid glass on the end of the pole, and you're gathering it out of our furnace at 2,000 degrees. And there's something about putting it into the glory hole. Yes, the glory hole. That's what they call it. Back in the day. Okay. in 1700, you would walk into Jamestown and you would walk into a barn and there was a furnace and it was a glorious sight. See,
Gotcha.
yeah, pre-electricity, this stuff was even more amazing. Post-electricity, it's still amazing, but it's different. And so, yeah, and so when you're turning the blowpipe with the glass on it, you're memorized. It's kind of like you just got hypnotized. You know what I mean? And the fire and the roar of the fire and the liquid moving and it's a liquid. It truly is a liquid. Like you're not like I got a piece of 2x4 and I'm cutting it straight and oh maybe it's gonna dry a little crooked. I don't know, but here everything's in motion. Like it's nothing like a 2x4, right? It's like it's an outright liquid that's challenging you to look at it as like a liquid, and keep it in that liquid state till where all of a sudden it's a shape. And then you let it stay frozen, which by the way, somewhere around 1,000 degrees. Frozen. So our freezers run at 950 because our glass freezes at 1,000. So all of our work happens above 1,000, 1,300, 1,415, 2,000 when we gather it. So we're definitely in the upper orange ranges.
Wow. Can anybody do this?
With our help, yeah. Yeah, with our help, pretty much. In this shop, unlike my friend's shops, we go down to the age of 5. And so, we have 5 years old there. Last year I had 2 18-month-old in there, And so when you have a really young kid, you have to have a 5 or 6-year-old in with you. We work with a lot of people with disabilities. I've had people like ALS, no use of their arms, and they roll the pipe with their feet, and we make it up as we go. But with the experience we have, we could fit anybody in. I had this lady this year. She had dementia, and so she comes up first in her family, 4 people. Oh, hey, I want to work. I'm like, I'm here because my family's here. I'm like, you want to blow glass? And you know what the answer in dementia is, right? No. It's always no. Do you want to blow glass? No. Do you want to eat dinner? No. It never doesn't matter what question you ask them. It's always no. They only answer yes to questions they already know the answers to. So I pass by her, take her whole family, and then it's her turn again. I go, what's your favorite color? And so in dementia, they know what their favorite color is. They could say that. So you pick on questions that they have the answers for. And next, you got them in there, we're working, we're having fun, and they have a blast, but it's always how you approach people is how they're going to fit in the studio. And with my team of artists that teach these classes, they're all used to watching me do it. So they're pretty good at it.
How did this begin for you, Patrick? I mean, this is such a unique skill and in itself as an artist, yes, but you also teach, you've built this, amazing studio for, others to use and learn and such. Where did this begin for you? Where did you start creating glass projects?
Right. For me, I'm visually impaired, so I can't really read. It was really hard to sign in for the podcast, just to let you know. Anyway, when you're visually impaired, this happens.
And the surgeon idea, that wasn't a good one.
No, scarlet fever toasted it all, age of 4.
Gotcha.
So there's no fixing it. And so
no, I meant you being a surgeon. Like
yeah. I am a glass surgeon, by the way. Yeah.
Point.
So I operate on glass all the
time. Gotcha.
And so when I was young, I struggled with that. So, finding a craft, like my dad was a mechanic fixing cars, and then going into high school and finding clay and doing clay work and a little bit of stained glass, that said, oh, I really like this. So I signed up for Penland School of Crafts in North Carolina, an hour north of Asheville. And I went there for like 3 years and had a great time. I love the colors. I love clay so much. I love sculpting. But when I got near glass and I saw the colors, that's me. I'm in, And so I have been doing glass ever since. And that was 78. So for 46 years now.
Wow. My gosh. Does it
Yeah.
ever get boring? Do you need to occasionally take a break, because you've done it for so long and so many different works of art?
Well, it's funny where I worked myself into this corner. So I I sold in galleries for a long time, made a living at being a glassblower, and at that time started running my own shop. And then after a while, I started developing this class, knowing that I never wanted anyone to teach other people like I was taught, because it's kind of like all those teachers came out of the factories and they basically just said, you do that 100 times and you'll be great. You know what I mean? It's like this kind of thing. And so at 99, I'm not great. Do it again. So, and what we do here in this shop is we just kind of help you along the whole time. We just smooth through all that. We take all that kind of stuff out of there and we just submerge you into the experience. And so that was my idea about all this stuff, was just to teach experiences, knowing that the real questions that people have is the experience. It's always been the question. Like I want to make something, but if each member of my family made something and I look at it, I remember being with my grandparents and my grandma. I sort of remember her and I look at this piece and I always remember because we did it together, a creative diary kind of thing. And so that's how our studio functions. We take off on that. And so, but as a kid, I loved being good at stuff. And since I couldn't read, I was very good with my hands. And, you know, some people fix stuff and like they get it. And you have to understand, in my life, I was never able to read the directions ever,
Wow.
right? IKEA was a good one, no words, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I could figure it out faster than their pictures. So yeah,
Got
it,
it.
you know. But when you're brought up with the inability to read, you find so many other relationships with products and things and relationships that they just glamour at you. So my whole life has always been about that, looking at people and reading them.
Can somebody make something that's not blown out of glass? Can it be a glass piece that's I guess
Oh yeah,
iron?
we do paperweights here. So, and not only that, we do memorial paperweights. So people bring ashes from their loved ones or a pet, and they'll bring it
Wow.
into our studio, and they'll make a memorial heart or a memorial paperweight, and they like that a lot because, you know, when it comes to memorial stuff, people want to do something towards that person or animal or whatever. They want to do, they want to extend their abilities into that process, right? It's not like I went to the funeral. No, I made a heart with the ashes in it, and now it sits there. And I remember me taking the time and the experience to sort of open a new door. You know what I mean? And so they like that a lot. And that's one of the things we do. But yeah, paperweights and stuff like that is always on our agenda.
There's just something I feel about creating glass art. I have a friend, grew up with him, and it was probably like 2005. He was working in IT and he was in New York. And one day he said, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Went online, found a farmhouse in Maine, didn't even see it, 92 acres, bought it. And his wife in New York, a suburb of,
Yeah,
there was a shed in the backyard and there was a kiln. And she would make diachronic glass jewelry.
yeah,
And I made, it's a little side hustle going on there. Well, they moved to Maine. They didn't even sell their house in New York. They moved to Maine, and that's what she started doing there. Then she started selling supplies online, and how they supported themselves. And eventually got a little job with the state, for more income. Eventually sold the house in New York. But you could see her affinity with glass. I don't know
yeah,
what is going on there. Can you even explain that, Patrick?
yeah. That's a really good question. You know, like when I'm working today, I was working with somebody and we made a cup, and that cup was, well, actually, this was yesterday, but it came out today. And so we were looking at the cup, and the cup was really thick, heavier than you think. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's a really heavy cup.
Uh-huh.
And I explained to him this. It's like, if I blow it thin and make it light, it's a print. If I make it thick, it's a painting. And so to me, glass does that so well. Sometimes a really light piece has this nice look to it. You know what I mean? But to me, it always crosses into that plastic range. But if you add thickness to it, all of a sudden you have vibrant color, you have optical illusions, you have all these different things that just draw you in, and it bends the light, and to me, that's some of the coolest parts, where you're bending the light.
So this is one of those questions I always wanted to ask, but
Okay.
when somebody's blowing glass,
Uh-huh.
how do they not feel the heat come back through whatever you want to call that thing, that pipe?
Yeah. Hey, can you give me 2 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just going to run off screen for 2 seconds, come right back.
Yeah. So cool. While he's going, I think we're going to get a tour or an example. You can definitely find him and everything, all the wonderful stuff they do there in New Mexico at prairiedogglass.com. A lot of great insight there. Even some of the projects that they work on. I have no idea what he's coming back with.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. I have my assistant here. This is me rolling on the steel. This is hot glass right here. A little more level. And then that right there is about 1,800 degrees.
Wow.
So I will never, ever, ever touch it, because it's really bad if the smoke comes off your fingers, I mean, it's just horrible. Just don't touch it.
Don't try this at home. Just saying.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's my friend Spooner holding us up. But we'll make another visit on that.
That's crazy.
But
Wow.
here's the funny part with that, as you speak. So there was hot glass on the end of a rod.
Yep.
And the weird part is at 1,800 degrees, it's so hot, you don't stick. So I could hit that all day and not get burned. But if I touch it, it totally burns you.
So let me make sure I got that right. So you can just hit it, whack it real quick for a millisecond, if you want to call it that, whatever.
Yeah.
No worries whatsoever. But when you touch it, you're done.
Right. And so what I get is like thicker calluses. It just builds my calluses up, a little burning of the fingerprint, security in case, I have to pass through anything, but yeah, no, we just get so used to being around it. It's crazy, So, hey, do you want me to do a little more glass work, or do you want to talk more?
You know what? We're almost out of time, but
Okay.
we have plenty of time next time we get together. And it would be fantastic if we could do that in the studio, watching you do your thing. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Question. So you had bowls of color, I guess,
Right.
colored glass in the foreground of what you just showed us. What is that?
That's it. For us, what we do is a lot of colors are added into pieces that way, but we actually work with a stained glass company that makes the glass that matches ours, and we buy their waste. So what we do is recycle all the colors, and then we use them in our shop to color our pieces. So all of those are recycled colors specifically made for us. And but yeah, you can have a fine powder. You have a like what they call number 1 or number 2 or number 3 frit, and you can roll on that. So, and in our classes, that's how we apply color. We apply it by frit.
So let's say, and we'll get to this in the future, but
Sure.
I just got to ask the question because I'm excited. It's on my mind. You're starting a project. Do you always start with clear glass, then add the color?
In our place, yes.
You do?
Right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that yellow or orange you saw is clear.
I figured that, but I wasn't 100%
It's just
sure.
so hot. The molecules are smashing, and then when they smash, it produces a color. And the color is fire red.
Very cool. And now,
which is, by the way, orange.
So So we got that going on there. Oh, wait a minute. We want to add, I don't know, blue to it.
Yep.
Would you take that and dip that into the blue bowl?
Yes. And I would roll it in probably 2 coats. Yep. And that would give us enough blue.
And that would make the entire thing blue.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's clear glass. Right.
So if I didn't want to, let's say I wanted flecks of color, how would you even do that?
Well, that actually works good with our Fritz because we can just spread it out like spots and do that. So instead of using a bar of color that gives you a clean one, we almost always use the Fritz. And we like that because it's more like, Van Gogh, Monet, impressionistic, right?
Sure.
We like the impressionistic zone, it works for us. We don't really want to be Mondrian, where it's, a clean color next to another clean color next to another clean. No,
Right.
we like the expression.
So let's say you've created something, let's say a small pitcher. I don't know, whatever. Um, how soon can you touch it? Do you put it in water to cool it down? I'm trying to remember of seeing
Well,
this
you
done.
could do that, but it'll break. We
Yeah.
put it in our freezer, which is 950 degrees, and we let it cool slowly overnight. So it comes out the next morning. It's always an overnight cool.
Your freezer is 950 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
That's a freezer.
Yeah, that's a freezer.
Well,
Right,
I
because
guess
the glass stops moving at 1,000. So anything below 1,000 is freezing.
this is what is your gas bill there? Because
Yeah, a little. It's pretty high. I mean, it's funny because we haven't used more gas in 15 years, but the gas prices have gone up immensely. So
are you
that's just the
using
way it is.
natural or propane?
Natural. We have a couple of propane torches, but pretty much it's all natural. I I've been doing so long. I'll use anything. I don't care. I have no morals.
What's the most unusual piece that you personally ever created? What do you think?
Yeah, God, my sculptures are pretty unusual. A lot of times I take on big chandeliers, stuff like that. We get commission jobs that we have to work on.
Wow.
And so we're blowing pieces that are like 4.5 feet tall, 3.5 feet wide, and when glass is that big and that hot, it's big, it's hot, and you feel it. So, and we have a face for today, and that's a sculpted face that I made. So
That's all glass.
that's all glass. And those are canes of glass. So you saw the frit, these are stripes.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. That is just incredible. Wow.
Yeah, we do have a lot of fun here. What I mean, it's the best part. People come in here and they just freaking have fun. And for when they pick up their pieces the next day, for entertainment, because I need entertainment. The kids come in, they're like 11 years old. I get out the stretch wrap, I put their hands out and I stretch wrap them. I call it childcare, and I stretch wrap her nice and tight, and then they usually race to see who gets out first, But, in this world, my shop offers that kind of entertainment where people are ready for any fun at all. Get what I'm saying?
I totally get it. And now I get what the glass experience means for Prairie Dog there.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, okay, so it's thousands of degrees and,
Yeah.
there's a potential for getting hurt. But with safety in mind, let's move over to the other side. You don't take this all so seriously. You know what I'm saying? You make it fun. Yes, we have to be careful, but let's be creative at the same time and create an experience, which I
Right.
can.
And for us, we don't even really give a safety lesson because what we found out is that people, when you give a safety lesson, they become deer in headlights. They stop listening altogether. For
Yeah.
the next 20 minutes, they don't hear a damn thing, And so what we do is we just keep the people safe the whole time. They're relaxed. We're relaxed. No one's running around with fire. It's just, we're all just having fun. And that sort of tips how easy it is to keep them safe. So like this year, and we're coming here, I think we had 3 blisters and none over an inch, and that's it.
Wow. Well,
Maybe a cut,
I think there's something there. If you start out, okay, everybody, listen to what I have to say. Be very careful. It is 1800 degrees. Make sure you do this. Don't do this. Do none of that. It's alarming to the point where you're going to be walking on glass, the eggshells, and invariably something's going to happen where it's just like, all right, yeah, be cool about it. You're watching. If somebody's going to reach for something they shouldn't, you're going to direct them.
And I try not to ask them the serious questions, like, what do you do for a living? And, are you married? What do you have to tell me today? Because the weird part is when you put them in front of the hole and things they'll answer any question. They'll just answer. They just, it's one of those, like I said, it's almost like hypnotizing them. And it's not that we're seeking any of that. We're trying to get their personality, like what you're doing to me, to bubble up. Right. You know what I mean? And I like it. It works good for me. I'm cool with it,
Oh, I'm having fun. I'm looking so forward to next time seeing you do your thing. If we can get that done, even just watching absolutely. You for 10 seconds just before was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. You can see this stuff on TV, but this is a personal experience that you're leading us on. And your website, prairiedogglass.com, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Got it. Patrick, thank you for being here today. Your vibe, your energy is fantastic. And I can see why people just flock, to go there and work on things. You got, a very positive vibe going on within the studio.
Thanks so much, Steve. It was really nice talking with you.
Likewise. Looking forward next time we get together. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.